Noreen, can I welcome you this afternoon? Yes. Take whatever time you need to compose yourself. We're particularly pleased that you and others today are giving evidence about your own experience of the service, and that's really important to this inquiry. As I'd said earlier, it's hard enough for people in professional life to give evidence in this kind of setting, so I know that it's even more daunting for you. So we will try and make this as user-friendly as we can. What I'd like you to do is really just tell us about your own experience. I know you attended the Antrim Area Hospital Emergency Department in March 2014. We may ask you some questions as you go along just to get some clarity. Sure. And we may ask you one or two questions afterwards. But if you would just take us through your experience.
Right, okay. I have actually a prepared statement, if that's
Great.
okay.
You might want to move the microphone just a wee bit closer to you so everyone can hear.
Yeah. Following my second surgery for breast cancer, I was discharged less than 24 hours post-operative from Antrim Area Hospital on the 13th of March 2014. I was suffering excruciating pain and felt very unwell to the point that another patient, also waiting discharge, drew my plight to the attention of the nurse. The nurse was busy and under pressure. I was given 2 paracetamol, and the nurse apologised to myself and also to a relative who was in hospital to take me home. She stated that she was unable to help me because she did not have the power to do so. The following day I became very unwell and the pain had worsened. I contacted my GP, who referred me back to Antrim Area Hospital. Despite the fact I had a GP letter outlining my condition, I had to wait 4.5 hours on a chair in excruciating pain to be seen by a doctor. I was not afforded any privacy or dignity and felt paranoid people were watching me. After being seen by a doctor and IV fluids were in situ, I had to wait a further 3 hours on a wheelchair attached to a drip before finally being admitted to admissions ward. Despite the fact I had a potential life-threatening condition, namely septicemia, I was kept in admission ward for 4 days. Simply, there were not enough beds. I felt in the dark most of the time and was not told what my condition was until the day before discharge, and that was only because I asked a nurse. My understanding was I had been admitted to hospital for pain control. I didn't realise I had a potential diagnosis, septicemia. I had been through breast cancer surgery that week and felt that my needs were ignored. I felt vulnerable and compromised by the whole process. The staff did not take into account of my condition, and I felt more compassion was needed. My health was put in jeopardy unnecessarily. More notice should have been taken of GP referrals. Patients with cancers are more vulnerable after surgery, though I was treated like the walking wounded. Nothing was taken into consideration. For example, my previous condition. My GP was of the opinion I would be seen sooner. Time can be of the essence and a matter of life or death. A life-threatening condition could have turned out to be fatal in my case. I am lucky to be here today and feel that because of the inadequacies of the health service nearly cost me my life. I am not just a life. I am a mother, a sister, a daughter, an aunt, a friend, and a grandmother.
Thank you. If I could ask you a couple of questions. Looking back on it now and reflecting, what are the things that would have made a difference to you in terms of not just your treatment, but how you were looked after from the starting point of your journey of arriving in the emergency department to your eventual discharge?
Sorry, could you repeat that again?
Yes, sure. Looking back on what happened to you, if things had been done differently, what are the things that you think should have been done differently that would have made the experience very different for you?
Yes.
So what are the lessons, if you
certainly,
like?
Yes. Well, I would say certainly GP letter referrals should be taken more heed of. Tri-agent should take better notes of people who come in, particularly post-operative patients. I think it is important that they are treated differently. Their priority should be higher, and more notice should be taken of GP letters. I also think the waiting time could have been reduced significantly to avoid further stress at that particular time. Also, more available beds and services.
Okay, can I just ask you? You were waiting in, you said, in excruciating pain, I think, for 4.5 hours.
Yes.
Was there, during that time, were you simply sort of left in the public waiting area? Did anyone kind of check about whether pain relief might have been appropriate, or whether you needed a cup of tea at the most basic level to anything else? Or did you have a sense of how long you were going to wait when you arrived in the emergency department?
No.
Okay. And then after the experience, you've come and talked to the inquiry, did you give any feedback to the trust afterwards, and if not, any reason why not? Or
no, I did not know.
And any reason why not? Were you aware of kind of mechanisms to give feedback?
I was aware of mechanisms, yes. The patients, I think Patient First had advised me to seek, clarification what had happened. But I didn't get a satisfactory response, unfortunately.
When you say Patients First, sorry, who's that?
They are a group of people that deal with...
Is it the Patient Client Council?
It wouldn't. No, it would be a separate group. They are a group that deal with patient complaints in the health service. Okay.
And you didn't get satisfaction in what way? What was the?
When I wrote to the Patient Client Council to help me with my complaint, I didn't feel that it was dealt with appropriately.
Can you say not dealt with in what way?
In ways to further my complaint. I was told to meet with someone at that time, but unfortunately I wasn't able to at that particular time.
Okay. Marion, do you want to ask anything?
I have only one question. You actually experienced this pain prior to discharge?
Yes.
So, and was any investigation done as to the cause of the pain then, or?
No. At that stage, I had been discharged. I was in the waiting room, waiting to go home at that stage, and as I said before in the statement, that I was given 2 paracetamol for my pain and was told basically that that's all they could do for me at that particular time. There was no further input from the staff at that particular time.
The nurse didn't suggest you see the doctor again?
No, she did not. In fact, as I said before, she apologised to say that it was beyond her remit. Basically, she could do no more for me at that particular time. Now, it was very obvious I was in severe pain, but that didn't seem to matter. And I felt very compromised at that particular time because I was very, in a lot of pain, and no one could help me. I was in a place of care, which I thought could help me, and they were unable to do so.
And how long did you wait in the discharge area before you went home?
I'm sure it was about 2 hours.
2 hours. And how long in total did you wait in A&E before you were admitted to the ward?
I was waiting 4.5 hours to be seen by a doctor, and then I had to wait about 3 hours after that on a wheelchair.
About 8 hours in total?
Sorry?
About 8 hours in total? Then?
In total, yes.
Right. That's fine. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Yes.
Nora.
Paul.
Noreen, what you've said has been very eloquent and powerful and moving, and thank you very much. And I don't have any additional questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one very quick one, which is just for clarity. When you arrived in the emergency department, was it very busy or?
Yes, it was extremely busy, yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's been really helpful. Is there anything final that you would like to say in terms of your experience, or anything else that you think you've not covered?
Well, there's just a couple of things. Patients, I think, for recommendations, patients should be informed regarding their condition. I was kept in the dark most of the time and didn't even realise that I had a potentially fatal illness. And I think in the event that there is reason for complaint, it should be independently investigated. I don't think the Trust should be investigating itself.
Okay. So bear with me and I just make a note. Noreen, thank you. That's very powerful and very helpful testimony to us. And it's really important that we get to hear from people's experience on the ground as to what they have has happened to them in emergency departments. So
Yes.
thank you very much for coming in. We're really appreciative of that.
Thank you very much.